Hey, this is Cypher Sounds, and this is my guest here, Bryan Callen.
Not
Even though
Callen.
it's 2 L's. Callen. On Comedy Corner. This is my show, Comedy Corner.
Here we are in the Comedy Corner, ladies and gentlemen.
No, Corner. Corner?
Bro, this feels like I'm in the hull of a boat. And this there's a lot of security to get up here. So you must be an important dude.
Well, not me, the station, the brand.
The brand.
They'll never let any of us be bigger than this right here.
Yeah. But see, I think that's a mistake.
Whenever
corporations do that, like the UFC, I like watching the fight game, and they have the stated policy. I think I don't want to put words in Dana White's mouth, but I think it's the idea is nobody's bigger than the UFC. The UFC is the thing. I think it's wrong-headed. I don't think it makes sense. You don't watch sports for the NFL. You tune in for the game and for the players that you identify with. Especially
you don't want them to get
fighters.
too powerful, though.
Yeah, but it's inevitable. We connect to human beings. We don't connect to a brand.
Guys,
do not connect to a brand.
Look, gems.
Gems.
Right away.
Take my jacket off when I drop knowledge.
Oh, shit. It's going down. All right. Callen. Bryan Callen.
C-A-L-N.
Right, you're a funny guy.
That's what they tell me. I can't believe I do it for a living, I'll tell you that.
I've never seen your stand-up.
No?
Sorry.
I feel so lucky I get to do it. It's so weird. Like,
I'm definitely going to go check you out this weekend. Just so you know, Gotham Comedy Club. All weekend long in New York City, 23rd and 7th. I tell you this all the time, guys. You know, is this my camera? Or should I look over here? Does this one see me? Is this weird? Sorry. Go see him at Gotham Comedy Club. Don't worry about if you can see me now. Go see this guy. I see you in tons of movies.
Yeah.
So
stand-up is my thing, man.
Always been?
It's just I fall more and more in love with it. The irony is I get a little bit even more successful with movies and I seem to be working a lot and stuff. Nothing compares to getting up on stage, something you've written for an hour with a bunch of strangers and winning them over. Yeah, because a lot of times you're up there, you don't even remember writing it. You know. Yeah, it's such a pure form of expression because I don't even write.
I might think I was gonna say it's the purest, but I don't know about ballet or anything like that. But
well, in a way, like what I love about comedy. See, this is what I love about fighting, fucking, and comedy. You cannot fake any of them. Can I say it? Can I say the F word?
Which one? Fighting
or fucking?
Fucking or
you can't fake any of them. No matter how much hype you have on you, you either can do the job or you can't. You can tell if somebody can sing, you can tell if somebody can dance, you can tell if somebody can have sex, and you can tell if somebody can make you laugh. There's no amount of, if you get in a ring and those are the things that I find pure. I love the things you can't fake. You either have it or you don't. Right. And to get it, you got to practice. Get in a ring with a good fighter. Good luck. I don't care how much you bench and how tough you were in high school. You got to understand. You got to and so stand up is kind of the same way. People say I want to do stand up. It's like I'll see you in 10 years. It takes a long time. I don't even write to be funny anymore. I just write to be honest. Like I tune into who I want to be. Like that's how I always say. Young comics go, "What should I write? How do I do that?" And I go, "Look, ask yourself questions. Ask yourself what you're ashamed of, what you're afraid of, who you'd rather be. Those are the things that I think that's where the gold lies for me."
That's what you write about.
Yeah, man. I'd rather.
What you're ashamed of?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time wishing I was somebody else. My whole childhood was really shame. I was always just ashamed of.
Well, I looked at your child. You moved around a lot.
A lot.
You were born in the Philippines?
Philippines. I lived in India, Pakistan, Greece, Saudi Arabia.
What? Why?
My father was worked for the government.
Which government?
I don't know what he
What
did.
are you?
Well, I'm Irish Italian.
Are you American?
Yeah.
Your father's American.
Yeah.
But he was in all those countries.
Yeah.
And he was a Navy SEAL or?
Probably something like that. I don't.
What did he say he was?
Honestly, I don't know. He said he was a banker.
Yeah, right. Get the fuck
We
out
got
of here.
bounced around a lot. I talk about it in my stand-up. That dude he was mysterious, man. That dude would just be staring off in the distance, making weird noises if you got close to him. You know what I mean? Like just like weird shit. I'd be like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm looking for something." That dude he wasn't afraid of a goddamn thing. I'm talking about Nothing, not even big dogs. Like a Rottweiler, he'd look at the dog and go, "Shut the fuck up." And that dog, he was attacked. There's something about him, man. He was a dark dude. He was reading a newspaper, and this is a true story. We're having like breakfast, and he goes, "Look at this." And I go, "What?" He goes, "A grown man was killed by a mountain lion." So I was like, "Yeah."
That's what mountain lions do.
He goes, "Pussy." And I go, "You don't think a mountain lion could kill you?" He goes, "It's a stupid question." And I go, "Why?" And he goes, because it's not a real lion, and a mountain lion would never dare to attack me. So I go, how do you know? And he goes, I don't know. It knows. Swear to God. Like he's a giant. Like you see me, I'm like, I take out the Sicilian side, right? My mother comes from a long line of petty criminals, right? I can blend in with a crowd. I'll pick your pocket. You wouldn't see me. My father was a house. My father's like the size of a horse with a hat. Like he's fucking like the size of your kitchen, that dude. And Harry, like there's Harry and then there's of the forest Harry. That dude is a fucking, like a bear. Like put a leash on that fucking bear. I've never seen anybody, but he's just terrible. Terrible. He's just a killer. He had scars. I'd be like, how'd you get those scars? He'd look at me and be like, you just keep waking up free every morning and I'll do what I do. He never said that, but you know what happened?
He said with his eyes.
Bro, this is what happened. My friend, he was a military dude, right? So, and he would just disappear for long periods of time.
Ooh, your dad.
Yeah. And so his best friend got drunk one time. His best friend looked at him and he goes, Mike, you ever kill anybody? And my father went, I never stopped to look.
This fuck, man.
I was like, get the fuck out of here. He was no joke, man. Anyway,
Jesus
I'm the opposite.
Christ.
I like my coffee. I'd never join the military, man. I like girls.
Yeah.
I can't hang out with a bunch
I
of
wanted
dudes.
to be a Marine when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to just watch tons of war movies. Like, I used to love it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's going to make me tough, make me a man. I even signed up for the Marines. And they were supposed to pick me up at 5 a.m. I called them at 4. I was like, ah.
Dude, I can't wake up early. That's the other. I went to Afghanistan. I did stand up for the troops for like 2 weeks with Steve Byrne and Dov Davidoff and this guy named Sam Tripoli. Really funny guys.
All those guys are funny.
They're amazing. And man, we'd have to wake up. I didn't sleep but 2 hours. You know, and I was, those guys. It's no joke out there, man. I'm not into that whole risky life, wakey up early. I don't know, man. It was
out there
impressive.
seemed
what
like they were into it, like soldiers.
I don't. It depends. I think what happens. I know a lot of soldiers, and I've talked to a lot of like really elite, special forces guys, and
those guys are into it. If you make it, to
not
that
really.
level.
I've interviewed 3 SEAL Team 6 guys on my podcast.
Really?
Yeah, and Bryan Callen show, and all of them, what's interesting is that they go into it with one set of ideals, and then when you get mired in the war, when you see, like most soldiers, I think when you experience the nitty gritty, the details of what war really is, which is heartbreaking, losing your friends, the stress, constant stress. There are things you deal with that you can't really share with other people. How do you deal with the fear, the 24/7, like never knowing when you're going to get your fucking face blown off? Because the problem is those guys are dealing with IEDs. Right. It's one thing to think I'm going to go in there and get shot and die. Right. It's another thing to lose your legs and your hands. That shit happens to those guys. Or I'm going to lose my
something
ears.
Regular, like opening a door or something.
And now I can't see and hear. Yeah. Good luck. And they when you deal with real injury like that, like I went through the hospitals, those guys... It takes the glamour out of war. When you got to kill a kid because the kid is running munitions to a mortar, and that's just they're a combatant. Jeez. That's the kind of stuff those guys deal with, and there's nobody to talk to. Yeah, okay, you got a chaplain. You know what's really interesting about the war is those drone pilots. Those drone pilots watch somebody for 6 months, and they get to know them, their habits. Like they watch them visit their family. They get to know them.
How through the
drones?
The
drones. Those cameras are really good. And then they're 4,000.
Flying the drone.
They're
flying.
They're 4,000 miles away. They're in Vegas.
Yeah.
Or they're in Georgia. Or they're in wherever. Right. Then they get an order, the kill order. Push that button. You blow that dude apart. Now you got to watch his family come out.
And the family you've been watching, you kind of got to know and kind of see.
Yeah. And they can, and it's the guy's an enemy combatant. The problem is, yes, he finances suicide bombers or whatever it might be. There's another side of him that's still a human being. So those drone pilots are not bad people. They're doing their job. And the problem is psychologically it weighs on you, man, because you're killing somebody from such a distance.
No, and you watching them for months, knowing that one day you're gonna kill them.
Right, and by the way, to anybody who's listening, I'm not a drone pilot. And I'm not in the military, so I don't want to say that I know what they go through. Right. But I've read enough, and I recently was auditioned for this part, so I did a lot of research on on drone pilots and stuff. The psychology behind it, they try to be very careful. There's a chain of command to keep, civilian casualties away. But the fact of the matter is, man, people die. And people who are not combatants die in that.
Jeez.
And you're pushing a button.
It's
funny stuff, huh, guys? I'll be at the Gotham Comedy Club for more talk on drone pilots and killing.
Give me that comedy advice you were just doing before the cameras went on. How do you get good at comedy?
I think you get good at comedy. My advice is always you got to basically, I think, write every day, perform as much as you can, and write only what you think is funny.
You write every day.
Well, that's the other thing. Writing is a mindset. It's not about writing. Don't think, well, I got to sit down and write. That's ridiculous. I never do that. I don't put like a sacred fence around, I got to write now. No, man. Writing is 24/7.
Okay.
I write when I'm walking down the street. I write, I'm always thinking that way. So get yourself into that mindset. If you get into that mindset, you'll be writing all the time.
Your mind is open to create some kind of joke or...
That's the best way to put it.
So like whenever you're walking down the street, like, oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
You're being aware of it.
Yeah, but ask yourself the right questions. Which are? Again, like the personal questions. Like all of us are ashamed and afraid. All of us are pretending to be somebody versus who, there's a difference between who you're pretending to be versus who you really are. It's a nice thing to kind of come in contact with. Who are you really? Like, I love walking around pretending I can fight because I was a wrestler and all that. And then I get into a ring with a pro boxer. And it's hilarious. Or my buddy who's a UFC guy. It's hilarious to see literally what a gazelle I am to his lion. I'm a gazelle. So, I like checking in with reality.
Yeah.
I like getting in with somebody who's way better than I am. But it kind of reminds me, oh yeah, hey Bryan, I'm a bit of a phony. Like I'm a talker. Like we all are, right?
Everybody is.
Yeah. Like a guy gets into a shoving match, and a year later, bro, I came in, I ducked, I hit him in the ribs. Then his friend came out with a knife. I disarmed him. Then this other guy had a bag of snakes. He threw in my face, but I got bit. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, you just had a shoving match.
Yeah, you had a shoving match.
So write every day. Perform as much as you can.
Yeah, even in the mirror. You get better in the mirror.
No.
Yes, man. You get better.
That looks horrible.
You get better as a comic. You get better as a comic. Well, whether the mirror is, you get better as a comic, I think, alone when you're thinking and writing. Try to surprise yourself.
I've wrote some stuff, and I'm laughing, and I think it's hysterical, and you go on stage, and it...
Yeah, but that might be because you're not committing or because you got to just adjust your approach. You'll get better at that, though. Yeah. You're a smart guy. I can tell.
Huh?
You look high, though.
Always do. I don't even smoke. It's just my look.
I can't smoke either, man.
What, you don't smoke?
Nah, man. It doesn't work with me. I actually think that smoking weed, there's this idea that smoking weed helps you creatively.
It probably does for some
Maybe
people.
It doesn't for me at all.
What does it do? Shut you down?
Yeah, man. I think it just medicates you. I don't believe it makes you better. I mean, there are people that disagree with me, like my dear friend.
Along your theories, maybe it loosens up your phony.
Maybe.
And lets you open up more,
Maybe.
But you're too aware. That's what it is.
I guess
you're too aware of the phony.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I'm saying? Like, some people don't say that they're phony or do anything fake. They believe their own bullshit.
Well, yeah. But I'm a little too old for that.
Yeah, and like you obviously are aware of it and be like, oh, I'm not really that good of a fighter or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So being that self-aware, weed is probably just shut you down. Where some people might knock down that false that wall they have of themselves.
But you could kind of say the same thing about booze.
I don't drink either.
Yeah, and I think it's better in a way to contend with yourself in a sober.
I really ask people... Like, I try to learn what does it do, and nobody can really give me like a good answer. Like, it loosens you up, like drinking.
Yeah,
it takes the edge off.
Yeah.
What does that mean? I don't really feel like I have an edge.
There you go.
And they're like, no, but it loosens you up, allows you to say what you really feel. I'm like, I usually say what I really feel.
Well, do you ever ask yourself like what you want to, what your ultimate goal is?
Yeah.
What is it?
All the time.
I know it's personal, right? It's weird.
No, it changes. Like, I have a lot. Do you have to have one?
Nah, you can have a lot.
I want to be a successful DJ, which I am.
Yep.
Put out music. Do stand-up. I want to do stand-up. I don't want to be a stand-up superstar.
Why?
Because I don't want to be... I don't...
You don't want to play out to theaters and stuff like Bill Burr does? Or
theaters, yeah. I don't want to be like Eddie Murphy. Like, I don't think I could be.
Why?
I don't know. I don't have the desire. Okay, I want to act. I want to do TV shows, comedy. I don't ever want to be like super famous.
You're mildly ambitious.
No.
I'm kind of the same way, by the way. When you talk this way, like I
don't want to be. I don't want to have to walk with security and be a.
You don't want the
movie star.
responsibility of everything on your shoulders, then.
Yeah, I just want to be in movie. I want to be the guy that like, yo, aren't you? You're in that movie.
That's me. You want my career?
Yeah, I want you.
You want my
You're
career?
in 1,000 movies.
Right. Oh wait, I know you from something.
And where do they know you from? Hangover. What's the most you get?
Hangover, Mad TV.
Mad TV, obviously.
Now it's weird because now I've done like Ride Along. I haven't gotten recognized from Ride Along once.
You haven't?
Nah, which is weird because I was I had a fairly big part, but
yeah.
But it's just an accumulation after a while. What happens is they know you and they don't know your name, but they just like you. That you make them laugh.
I like that.
So they go, But then you still want ultimately to have a constant gig. Like the stand-up's my gig, but it'd be nice to have like I'm recurring on the Goldbergs right now, but I'd like to have a serious regular part.
Right.
Just because it'd be a job I could go to every day.
I want that too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't want to be a mega Hollywood
Bradley
star.
Cooper or something.
How's you know him?
Yeah.
Well, is he cool?
Great guy.
How's his life? Can he walk down the street?
I don't know now, but Bradley loves being an actor.
Right.
Like he loves acting. He loves the details. He's made for Hollywood. He'll be a director someday.
Right.
Because he just loves every detail.
Does he like
of
the
shot.
fame?
I don't think he even thinks about the fame. I mean, sure, everybody would. It's nice to be loved and stuff, and he embraces it. But I think what made him a movie star and what will keep him relevant is he loves. Like that guy will look at the shot and be obsessed with the detail of the shot. Like he's very visual. Like he's going to be a great director.
This table shouldn't be here.
The outfit you're wearing. I mean, he pays attention to everything.
Oh, really?
Like he loves it.
Yeah.
That's what you see him in American Hustle.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He was good.
I
didn't love the movie, but he was good.
What'd you think of the movie?
I didn't like the ending. I don't like these movies nowadays that are like partially based on a true story.
Yeah.
And this is what kind of happened, but our costumes look great.
Yeah.
Like, and then at
That's
the end,
interesting because I heard somebody else say something like that where they said the movie was good, but I didn't care about any of the characters. Like it's a little bit like somebody was talking about Johnny Depp being an actor and it's like he's really good, except for he never broke my heart. Mickey Rourke, he breaks my heart. Mickey Rourke to me was my favorite actor because I would cry because that dude had the ability to kind of just he'd break my heart. And whether it was the wrestler or Angel Heart, you just love that dude, man. You'd be like, that dude he's so self-destructive. Whereas Johnny Depp, he's great, but he doesn't break my heart. Like he doesn't, you know what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. And I think
he's too cool or something. The dude's too busy being cool. I can't get through the cool to really see who he is. I don't see a vulnerable side to that guy.
It's all characters or roles. Like
and even when he's on David Letterman or whatever, the dude's wearing like a costume. I wouldn't hang out with that guy. I'm not hanging out with you when you got a hat and a feather in your hat and you got like a bandana tied around your thigh. I'm not hanging out with you.
What? I got a new feather. You don't want
too busy, bro. You're dressed like a pimp.
I got a new.
You're from Kansas or Kentucky, man.
Feather, man.
I'm sorry. You could get away with it. You're from New York. He's from Kentucky. Yeah, he's got an affectation to his voice. Like he's just so cool.
Yeah,
you're wearing a ring on your thumb. I mean, it's all good, but it's just he's so vain. I can't get through it.
Yo, we're gonna hang out, yo. We're gonna
come to the show, man.
Ring on the thumb.
Come on,
that's crazy.
A ring on your thumb, bro. What's up?
Yo,
you're not even a musician.
That's my line from now on, like my guideline. Like, yo, you wear rings on your thumbs, don't you? Even if you don't have one on now.
Let's call him Johnny Dopp. Hey, Johnny Dopp.
Rings on your thumb. Who's like some of your cool friends?
Jeremy Piven.
Jeremy Piven.
He's my boy. Good friend of mine. I don't know, man. Kevin Hart.
Like close.
No, but I know him in his second movie I've done with him. I love Kevin.
What was the first?
About Last Night and Ride Along.
About Last Night?
Yeah.
Oh, you were in that?
Yeah.
Kevin Hart has 4 movies out.
I know.
Right now.
And they're all
insane.
Hits. Yeah, because he's amazing.
No,
that's the funniest dude I've ever worked with in my life.
He's mad cool.
He's so cool. Kevin hasn't changed a bit.
No, he used to call me more.
Well, he's just busy. I'll text him stuff like I'll be like, because Ride Along was a hit, and now About Last Night, and I'm like, Kevin, man, you're welcome. You're welcome. Apparently we did it, man. We did it.
The combo.
I can't believe. I'm glad I was able to really boost the movie. He's like, what is wrong with you? You're not even in the movie. He sends me back these things. He's so funny, man. We were at the premiere of About Last Night, and everybody's like all over him, and I'm in the VIP section. I come up and I give him a hug. I go, bro, you got the Midas touch, you know. He goes, yeah, come over here for a second, man, real quick. And I go over and he goes, man, isn't it crazy how famous I am? I just keep getting better and better. I really don't have time to talk to you right now.
I love it.
So
he said
funny.
the same thing to me.
Really?
When he went, like maybe 3 years ago, he walks in the radio station and just like, yeah, Caroline sold out 7 shows. I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? I was like, so it's the same guy, like just
He's
the
the
big
best. He's the best.
How's Joe Rogan?
One of my best friends, man. I just talked to him yesterday.
I wasn't clear on Joe Rogan until recently, and he's becoming one of my faves.
He's another one who's just authentic.
Yeah, that's what
Joe
I feel.
doesn't believe he's better than anybody. Part of his appeal, like his podcast, is a phenomenon.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And Joe's one of those dudes, man. I don't know. He's just a guy who is as authentic as it gets.
You started on his podcast? Not started, but you were on.
Yeah.
Oh, you're on a lot. Or sometimes.
Yeah. I'm going to do it on this coming Wednesday again. But he's a guy who basically, you know what he said? He said, the one thing I'm the most proud of is not my success as a comic or any of that. He goes, I achieved peace of mind.
Yeah.
And he said, I worked very hard at finding peace of mind. I never heard anybody say that.
No, I feel you. I'm in that process.
Yeah.
It's so much better.
Takes time.
So much better. What you ever did any improv?
You're young.
37.
Yeah, I'm 47, so you got time.
47?
Yeah.
You're 47 years old.
Tight-fitting skin.
Jesus Christ. Lotion?
Yeah, constantly.
Black people lotion?
I use jojoba oil. Honestly, my secret is jojoba oil. And camé. I'm camé all over. Head and toes and elbows too. I'm camé all over. Head and toes and elbows too. Thank you, everybody. And a little coconut butter. I really, really lubricate my skin. And my anus.
Good. Oh, good.
And my dick.
Good.
I like saying dick.
Why?
I don't know. I like saying
that
my
way?
dick. You guys want to see my dick? I don't
like
say
the
my.
Pause? Is it the pause?
Like the M apostrophe dick. You got to pause. Because if you say dick, it sounds small.
Right. Dick.
But if you say my dick.
And hip hop will be like, my dick. That's what we say.
Yeah, it just sounds like it takes you a while to pull it out. It'd be humbling to weigh your dick. I was thinking about that the other day. It can't weigh more than a couple ounces. I don't give a shit who you are. You know what I mean? Like, how much do you think your dick really weighs? And if it could speak, how much would it have? It would squeak. Right? It's so humbling. It puts me in a bad mood. I got a piece of
like even someone like a porn star's huge
still
dick
a light. It's
only
still
weighs.
Light. It doesn't weigh a pound. Not
you ain't packing weight.
Nah, man. It weighs. I'm giving it. It's still in the ounces. If the butcher threw it on there and it was a steak, you'd be like, bro, well, I can't. I got to feed myself. Right? I mean,
what?
It hurts you as a man. It's probably why we fight wars.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Penis envy, girls. Wars are probably the smallest little disrespect. Same thing we get in a fight on the corner.
Well, war. People actually go to war. People go to war over ideas, I think, and in fact, to defend a way of life, something they love or they're told to love.
Yeah.
You know, you mobilize armies with propaganda. You mobilize armies with symbolism, propaganda, slogans, and ideas that can be quickly digested. You don't, the people who create the intellectual argument for the war, the scaffolding, especially in today's life, you have to sell a war. I think that's how Iraq happened.
Yeah.
The architects of the war were hiding behind the scenes. None of them had ever done a day of military service. Say what you will, but the only person who was against it was Colin Powell, who was a military guy.
Right.
And he kind of got bullied into talking about weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah.
But if you look at the architects behind that, that's,
What, you think they get bullied into it because they're trying to help their political career?
There's a lot of reasons. It's an idea. The idea that let's bring democracy to the Middle East, for example, and that's the way you get real peace.
Yeah.
The problem is that it's a complicated. They might be right.
It's all complicated.
They might be right, but you're dealing with cultures. And I just think it was living in the Middle East as I had for 8 years, one of the things that I noticed about the Bush administration was none of them really understood the history of the Middle East. They didn't know anything about the Middle East.
Not at all.
And in fact, I, as an actor, I remember saying, you want to disrupt the political balance of Iraq, that's fine. I don't like Saddam Hussein. I'd like to shoot him in the head. The problem is you now have two players. You got who's going to stop Iran from exerting influence, and Syria and all the other players that fill. You think Afghanistan's never going to be peaceful because it's not in Iran or Pakistan's interest. They're not letting that country be. They're not going to let that country just be. It is in their interest to keep that country destabilized.
Why?
So now, because to have a strong neighbor that is allied with the United States or whoever is not such a good idea. Iran wants influence, and Pakistan wants influence, and Pakistan wants those people buying their goods. There are a lot of reasons. There are 1,000 reasons for it. And Afghanistan's always been a country that's very easy to destabilize in some ways because it's tribes. It's a series of tribes: the Hazaras, the Tajiks, the Pashtuns. It's never been necessarily, a unified country the way we would consider it, even though there's a nationalistic idea.
This is the most informative comedy corner ever.
Listen, man, we talk politics, we talk comedy.
I can't talk politics. I don't know enough. And I'm too much of a conspiracy theorist.
No, that's all. Don't be.
Don't be a conspiracy theorist?
No, it's all bullshit. Nobody's that organized. Anytime somebody has a conspiracy like the 9/11 conspiracy and stuff, it just makes a lot more sense that a group of fanatical young men were willing to fly planes into buildings. If you have any doubt about that, Lawrence Wright wrote a Pulitzer Prize winning book called The Looming Tower. He traces Islamic fundamentalism all the way from the 50s up until 9/11. And the paper trail is very clear. There is just too much evidence, evidence.
If the paper trail is so clear, it would give you ammo as somebody who wants to plan an inside job.
It's impossible to plan an inside job when you've got this real phenomenon called
You know how much shit
Al-Qaeda?
I've stolen from Hot 97? How much equipment? Look at all that equipment in that room.
What's your background, man? You know what? I want to know your origins. You might be a plant. You might have been involved.
Puerto Rican.
All right. Isn't it funny how you're Puerto Rican? You're Puerto Rican, but this is the thing about life. And this is the thing about racism and everything else. You're Puerto Rican. You could be Arabic easily. You could be 1,000 things.
Well, I'm not. I've learned
Even if
over
I
the
grew
years.
up beard, I'd look Afghani. Okay.
Yeah. Well, you play, like, even in Hangover, you play, like, some kind of...
and people go, yo, are you Lebanese? No, I'm Irish-Italian. What's the difference?
What is the difference?
Not really not really anything. That's the whole thing about... That's the
Mediterranean,
thing about,
right?
It's just the thing about... I'll tell you something really amazing. This is what's amazing about the concept of racism. The idea that some races, for example, are better at certain things, which is still ingrained in the conscious, okay? The idea... The bottom line is that all of us are... Everybody wants a better life for their children. Everybody wants, But check this out. This is kind of amazing. In Papua New Guinea... in the highlands of Papua New Guinea, there are people that have been isolated for 46,000 years. Very primitive. They don't have a tradition of reading or writing. Okay? Mm-hmm. They have, when they got there in 64 or whenever it was, or 37, first time, they were using stone tools and everything else. And up until 1967, really, there were a lot of tribes that had never seen anybody of European descent.
Yeah.
So they were very, very isolated. 46,000 years is a long time. You would think that somehow, after 46,000 years, these black tribes probably didn't have the proclivity for mathematics and writing as did somebody from, say, Greece who came from 5,000 years or 3,500 years of that tradition. Mm-hmm. You can take one dude from Papua New Guinea, and they've done it. One dude, one kid, educate that kid, and they did it. And he goes to MIT and becomes a computer engineer and is just as smart and just as good at anything, math, science, or reading, as any European who came from a tradition 5,000 years of that tradition. What does that say about evolution? What that says is that the human mind, regardless, if nurtured properly, black, white, Chinese, whatever, has the same exact potential. There is no difference. There is no scientific credibility to the notion that, some people, it gives, like Inuits, if you take like an Eskimo, they actually, metabolically, their bodies have adapted to their environment. so that their hands and feet don't get cold the way you and I, if we go to the North Pole, our hands and feet are the first thing that get cold.
Yeah.
They actually don't. Their hands, they have really good circulation. Their body they got this big trunk. They can conserve heat way better than you and I can. But the human mind has never done that. The human mind is just as adaptable depending on its circumstances. So everybody, no matter where you're from, whether you're a pygmy in the Congo or you're from the Sudan or you're from, Finland, the mind has the same potential. It's just interesting.
So fine, you take somebody from New Guinea or wherever and you send them to MIT, all that stuff. Now, do you think there's people, do you think anybody can be smart?
Yes.
Or
why
are some people dumb and some people smart?
Well, there's a guy. I do a podcast with a guy named Hunter Motz who wrote a book about this. I know his name is Hunter Motz. He wrote a book called "The Straight A Conspiracy." And then there's a woman named Carol Dweck. There are a lot of people that have made real studies of the idea of, are people born smart? And my buddy Hunter and a lot of other people think the worst idea that ever came along is the idea that people are born smart. We've isolated some 300 odd genes for mental retardation. We've never come up with a gene. A smart gene, not one. And the idea is experience and practice. There's a great book called The Talent Code by Dan Coyle. Practice, real talent, real practice. When you learn how to practice, you create what's called a myelin sheath, which is a fatty sheath. You actually can create circuits in the brain. So somebody who can shoot a free throw or a really good violinist, they've developed those circuits in their brain. A great chess master, if they start at a young enough age, they actually create circuits and a sheath around those circuits called a myelin sheath. So you can actually look at the brain and see this development in the brain. The brain has plasticity. So in fact, there's no idea when you look at how people get good at math. Malcolm Gladwell did a study on why do some Asian cultures, or why are some of them good at math? Has nothing to do with their language and everything. It has to do with the fact that there's a theory that the rice farmers, rice is such a labor-intensive thing, that hard work and constant work is so part of their nature that an American does math and goes, this is too hard, and they quit. That's not even in the Chinese. If you're from certain parts of China, that's not even in your realm of possibility. Hard. Yeah. So it's fucking life, bro. You're sitting there for 4 hours till you get this math problem. Guess what? They get good at math. So everything is about practice and how you're practiced and the emotional state you are in when you approach something. Girls are told they're not good at math and science. They're not going to be good at math and science. Yeah. But the idea is that anybody can be good depending on how you are brought to
anything.
Well, I believe that there've got to be some people that are better at say math, and some people better at comedy. So I maybe.
Are you good at math?
I'm okay at math.
So you think if you sat down and worked for hours and hours and hours at it, you'd be?
Yes, I'd be good. I'd never be a master at math, but if I had started as a young kid, I don't know. Math, there's a lot of evidence that anybody who's really good at whether it's you know why chess masters can beat you? You know why chess masters are so amazing?
No.
They're not thinking 5 moves ahead. They don't have more cognitive reasoning than you. They've played so many games that they can recognize the board in 3 seconds. They've been there. They just have pattern recognition from playing since they were 6 years old. That's why they're really good at chess.
Seen way more boards than you.
That's it.
Many more times.
That's it.
So comedy. Anybody wants to do comedy.
Same idea, man. I've got now after years of comedy. Now, you know why I became a comic? Because I was moved around constantly as a kid. I'd be thrown into a whole new group of dudes. You know how you make friends with guys? You get good at sports and you make them laugh.
True.
I wanted to make friends. So I learned I'm pretty coordinated, thank God. But I was also really good at being a jackass. Yeah. So from a very early age, man, I had to learn how to endear myself to a group of people. Now you put me on stage, it's as natural as it gets. So comedy now for me, I can read an audience. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm not even thinking about comedy. I'm playing the audience like an instrument. That section looks a little tired. I gotta bring my attention over there. They're getting tired. I'm making them laugh a lot. I'm gonna pull back on some of the tags. I'm gonna hit them later on with it. You learn how to play an audience like they're an accordion.
It's good stuff.
That takes a long time, but I never thought I could do that. But after years of that thing called experience, you start to be able to. Yeah, man, it takes on its own.
So let me one more thing. This comedy corner is Amazing. Okay, do you think some people are naturals at something?
I don't know. The answer is I don't know.
I don't like sports.
Yeah.
I don't like sports. Just personally, I don't like playing sports. But what if naturally I'm the greatest basketball player ever?
Well, then your talent it doesn't matter because you'll never know because you would have had to start from a very an earlier age, probably.
But do you have to love it?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, there's a lot of evidence to suggest, and there are a lot of books written.
Maybe there's something the way my brain works. Whatever Jordan has.
There's another book called Imagine, I think, or Imagination. I can't remember. But there's been a lot of work done on this subject, a lot. And what they think is that, like Wayne Gretzky, apparently when he was 2 years old, when they would turn the hockey game off, he would start to cry. So an early fascination with a subject is very beneficial to mastering.
So me being a loser, 12 years old, loser.
Yeah. You were
sitting
told
home.
You weren't nurtured. You were told that that's for other people. You were told that, nah, that stuff's for other people.
What, for sports?
Whatever.
No, but I'm saying I'm a loser. I'm sitting home and everybody's out playing and watching live at the Improv or live at Caroline's and seeing Seinfeld and going, oh, I like this.
Well, sports are different, though, because there's another book called The Sports Gene by David Epstein. Coming to my show tonight. I'm excited. But David Epstein said, There are certain things that you either have fast twitch muscle or you don't. You're not running punts back in the NFL. You're never gonna. Here's the fact. There are Kenyans. The Kenyans in a certain part of Kenya, the Highlands, they all win the world championships. They just can run farther because of their physiology. Okay, if you come from the Biafra coast in Africa. There is ample evidence to suggest that there is parts of West Africa where you're going to have a higher ratio of fast twitch muscle than if you come from, say, I don't know, Kenya. So in Kenya, you can run farther. If you come from the Biafra coast, you're going to run fast. So Usain Bolt and anybody from Jamaica comes from actually a very specific part of Africa.
True.
They've traced that back.
Yeah.
So yes, okay, there are certain sports you're gonna have an advantage because you have a higher ratio of fast twitch muscle, or you come from a certain part of Kenya. That
evolution is hundreds of thousands of years.
Yeah. But
you're not
gonna be a better tennis player, man. Tennis takes a certain kind of thing. Boxing takes. You might be really good, but there are Mexican boxers that may not be physically as gifted, but they will. They're some of the greatest that ever lived because boxing is a very highly skilled, takes years and years of understanding footwork and all that stuff. So it all depends, man. It's not good to think of yourself as a natural. I don't like the idea. I think it's a destructive idea to think I'm naturally good at something.
Yeah.
That's bullshit. Take it out of your mind. It's practice. It's called deep practice, perfect practice. Read a book called The Talent Code.
You said a lot of books today. So
I read a lot.
How much do you fucking want me to read?
I want you to read as much as you can. It's very important.
I don't have the time.
No, listen to me.
I don't have it.
Immerse yourself in the best that's been thought and said. On your iPhone, go to audible.com. Instead of listening to music, you can download books and listen to books.
Oh, I'm listening to a book right now. I drift all the time.
That's okay. You'll get good. You'll get better at it.
I'm listening to the
Myelin Sheath.
My boy gave me I think The Power of Now.
Yeah, I read it.
Fucking drifting, yo. Yeah. It's like the voice is like,
First of all, that's I know that. I know the way. I think the actual author, Bertolt Brecht or whatever his name is. That's not his name, but I think
it is the author though.
He's the one who actually does it, and he should not be
serious.
Yeah, he should not be reading his own book.
I'm like, dog, you got to speed this up a little bit.
Nah, man. So you got to have the right reader because that dude is a snooze. That dude he needs a bunch of naps and a vitamin because that guy he puts me to sleep.
Yo,
The Power of Now.
Who won't put you to sleep? My boy Bryan Callen. You're going to go see him at Gotham Comedy Club. Also, what's your podcast?
The Bryan Callen Show.
On
iTunes.
And
The Fighter and the Kid and the 10-Minute Podcast. Whatever.
And go see him at his house in L.A.
Come see me in my house, man. No,
and that's it. It's a comedy corner. Corner?
Thanks for having me on. This has been the greatest podcast of my life.
Corner?